Hello and welcome to the AI Bots podcast. I'm Chazzy, as always, and with me is the lovely Mr. Dan Clark. How you doing, Dan?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, man. Are you?
Yeah, really good, mate. Really, really good. Yeah.
Good. We've just about recovered from talking to the most popular girls on the internet, I think.
Yes, mate. They blew your voice out. That's why we've been away for a week.
Yeah. If anyone hasn't heard it, we were on another podcast. We guested on the most popular girls on the internet. So yeah, you find their last episode, and you can hear us getting slightly merry and flirty with a couple of American women.
Yes.
It's quite interesting.
We were up for 4 hours, from 1 a.m. till 5 a.m. Let the sun come up and talking absolute gibberish. It was great fun.
It was nuts. See, I'm used to I looked at the length of their shows and tried to work out an average.
Yeah.
And I thought it's going to be about an hour, hour and a quarter, hour and a half tops, maybe. And then, as you say, the sun was coming up, and it was like, oh no, what's going on here?
It's all going wrong. Oh God, I need to sleep.
And then on the Sunday, I live on my own, so I don't sort of talk to myself. I'm not like one of them talk to myself kind of people.
Crazy.
And I suddenly I didn't notice that my voice had gone until someone tried phoning me and answered it. It was like, I was like, what the fuck?
It's brilliant.
I can't talk anymore.
It was brilliant. You Skyped me and went, sent me a message, and it was like, I think we got a problem. Quickly talk to me on Skype. And I spoke to you, and it was just like, it was like talking to Frank Butcher and Chewbacca's long lost, love child. It was hilarious.
EastEnders, man.
Yeah, exactly.
EastEnders if Chewbacca had love children in it.
It was brilliant. But it was like, hello there, I can't talk. It was brilliant.
I should have moved to the East End just for that 2 days.
Yeah, exactly. You'd have fit right in, mate. Right, man. So what have you been up to other than having a properly messed up voice?
Other than that, I've been playing Shadows of the Damned. Because obviously on that show that we were on, Sassy talked about Shadows of the Damned.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh yeah, I picked that up in the New Year's sales. And I've never really got round to it. And I love me a bit of Resi 4. And obviously, it's got Shinji Mikami as is he the director of this? Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's obviously got Grasshopper, Suda51 as well. So
yeah, it's this kind of what are they called, super,
like a dream team.
Yeah, like a dream team of super producers, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's
like a super group.
Yeah, that's the word. That's the word I was looking for.
Or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like a Japanese gaming version of that.
Yeah.
And it just seems to have all these sort of things that I should generally like. And gave it a go, and yeah, I think I'm going to now pretend that Resident Evil 5 never happened. It's a really interesting game. It's quite a tough one to describe in a lot of ways.
Yeah, because I've sort of watched videos of it when I was thinking about picking it up, and it looks really kind of not wacky, but not your usual kind of dull, well, not dull and boring, but kind of straightforward. Oh, this happens and that happens, and there's demons and blah blah blah. It's kind of it's more Suda51 and a bit bonkers.
Yeah, I mean, it has got a lot of the sort of usual tropes of a third-person shooty game, but sort of tempered, as you say, with enough weirdness to sort of keep you interested.
Is it more like Suda51's been kind of his mentalness has been reined in a bit by the other two?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's definitely his sort of most straightforward game.
Right, okay.
But then still compared to pretty much anything else, that's not really saying much, is it?
Yeah, well, they are pretty bonkers, most of his stuff, don't they?
Yeah, see, I think I've spoken about it before. I've got this gripe with third-person shooty games where I've got a control issue with what they put on the right stick. And no one wants me to really go into it. But this game is good enough for me to put up with the fact that they haven't put in the options that I want, which I think says a lot for the game, really. Do you know what I mean?
Nice.
Because it's one of those things that really does wind me up. And I've just managed to sort of put up and shut up with it. So,
well, that's good. It either shows something about you becoming a little bit more mellow, mate, or like you say, the game's actually amazing.
Oh, to be fair, I
take your mind off it.
I'm a pretty mellow person at the best of times. It's only this one control issue I've really got. But yeah, I think it's partly because occasionally it makes me laugh out loud.
Oh, right.
Not many games. There's games that are funny that make you have a sort of little silent chuckle to yourself.
Yeah.
But this actually almost made me spit out my drink. You know those moments where something just sort of catches you off guard?
Yeah, like a proper spit take, everywhere.
Yeah, it was just like that. I found a book running through a house in the game. There's a book called The Man Who Didn't Get His Fill.
Right.
It's about a guy called George who apparently he eats quite a lot, but he never puts on any weight. Now, is it going to be a spoiler? No. He ends up a boss. So
Right. Okay.
you read a book about... You've already fought him in one form. Then you read the book and you realise what you've got to fight next.
Yeah.
But that's kind of by the by. But your gun, Johnson, is reading the book to you.
Right.
So he's talking about this guy, and the guy's off on his travels, goes to this new town. And do you mind if I read you a little bit of it? Just
Go on. Read me a bedtime story.
Cool. Right. So he's gone into this bar, and then so here goes. Afterwards, the only woman in the joint took the stool next to him and asked him his name. The bartender leaned over the counter. You don't know this guy, Mary. George is famous. Been all over the tri-state area. With a wink, he added, man's insatiable. And then the game turns over the page. Think, oh, that's a nice little story. And then it carries on. And that night, George proved it as he buried his face in Mary's beaver.
Okay, fair enough.
Games don't do that. What are you doing, guys?
Softcore Mills and Boone porn in the middle of my game. Nice.
Yeah, like 50 Shades of Grey slips into Shadows of the Damned.
Blimey.
Yeah.
Bit of
So
a shock.
it's just full of little moments like that keep sort of making you think, oh, I better keep playing this just because there are going to be surprises left, right and centre. I'd heard it's a really short game as well, but maybe it's my OCD collect 'em upness in wanting to sort of search here, there and everywhere. But I've played a good few hours and I think I'm not even halfway yet. So the people that say they cleared it in like 4 or 5 hours, they must have either just like skipped all the cutscenes and story, or I don't quite know.
Yeah,
but
just kind of, just ploughed through the game as in a ridiculous, time trial fashion.
yeah,
you know what I
it
mean?
could well be that. Yeah.
Don't know, don't want to know, don't want to know, don't want to know. Kill the thing, go on, next. Like, sitting
Done it.
Yeah, exactly, slamming Red Bull. Get
Done
the
it.
next-
Straight it in.
Done it.
You
What
might
fun is
find
that?
it.
What fun is that, doing it, just like running through a game that quickly? Surely you can't pick up anything from the story or glean any kind of fun from it whatsoever.
I can understand maybe in a replay doing it like that to beat a speed run or something.
Yeah, something like that. But
But again, I wouldn't do it with a sort of big third-person action game where there's so many chances that you're going to mess up a speed run. Like Super Mario Brothers, there's so little variables in you getting the perfect run and not. Whereas you might just sort of like, what's the word, strafe a little too far one direction, and then you've messed up your speed run in a shooting game, haven't you?
No, exactly.
It's a weird one. Don't quite get it.
Yeah,
But I'm wondering if you might have a problem with it, because it's got a bit of an Alan Wake mechanic. You know, in Alan Wake, where you've got your torch that you have to sort of blast the darkness off your foes. It's got that mechanic to it.
Okay.
Now, you haven't got a torch, but you can fire light bullets by pressing the right bumper.
Right.
And you have to do that to kind of, it's almost exactly the same, to knock the darkness
All right, okay.
off the enemies before you can shoot them. So I didn't know if that would remind you too much of a game that you really dislike.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think Alan Wake. Well, I'm not going to get into it really. I don't want to get shouted at again. But I think Alan Wake was that the shooting mechanic wasn't too much of a problem. It was just kind of a lot of niggles and a setting I didn't particularly like. Sort of, all coming to a head. Really, it was like some of its parts kind of thing.
Sort of the perfect storm. Or
exactly.
Storm, yeah.
There's
another thing that reminds me of Alan Wake as well, is that the combat seems to play with I know I've said about the hitting the darkness off them, but it seems to play with the dark and light aspects of the actual world itself. Like, if you're within the darkness, which is like a sort of shroud of grey, like a zone that you can wander into, and everything goes grey, you can't hurt the enemies while you're in that zone. So, but then you might need to taunt them out to a different area of the light. So the puzzles are quite similar to Alan Wake in all sorts of ways, but with tongue in cheek and rather like not quite as po-faced. So maybe you won't hate it all that much. So yeah, it might be a bit too Alan Wake for your liking, but I'd suggest that you at least give it a rental, because
Yeah, I might pick it up, mate. I might pick it up. It's on my love film list. I've got it there, and after Sassy said she liked it, and I know a lot of people have said it's one of those ones that's kind of bit Marmite. You either love it or you kind of absolutely detest it for being so weird. But yeah, I think it's one of those ones that I'll pick up eventually. On my love film list.
It's probably a good one for the summer drought, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
it doesn't really matter too much because you're not missing out on playing anything else by giving it a go, do you?
Yeah, exactly. And I've got like my pile of shame's getting bigger and bigger and bigger at the moment. So yeah, I'll get into it eventually.
Is yours not like a metaphorical pile of shame though, seeing as it's love film? Or
No, I have actually got a pile of shame as well. Because the problem is I've got love film, and then I go out and like get stuff like cheap
separately
as well. So it's kind of like I've like got a double pile of shame. I've got the one that I'm paying £10 a month for that keeps turning up on my doorstep, and then the one that I've actually got sat in front of me that I can never get through because I've got games turning up on my doorstep. So I'm gonna have to do something about that. I think I'm going to be like snowed under with discs soon. You'll just find me like local man is crushed by DVD cases. It's going to be one of those situations.
And then they'll bury you in like a massive DVD.
Yeah, in a massive Xbox hollowed out.
Well, I'll tell you what's not helping you clear your pile of shame, man. I hear you've had a little jolly to the seaside.
Yes, mate. Yeah, I managed to convince my girlfriend and my stepdaughter to let me take them down to Southend Arcades. It was brilliant. Nice and sunny. Went down there on Saturday, and I've just had this hankering because I've been playing a lot of sort of pinball on the iPad on the Pinball FX2.
Yeah. I think you'll find you mean Zen Pinball. Although Pinball FX2 and Zen Pinball share many of the same features and many of the same tables, they are in fact different games, and Pinball FX2 is not available on the iPad.
And I've just been like, I really want to play on a proper table again. And I know they've got some down in Southend, so I was like, can we go down to Seafront and go and have a game on some of the tables down there? So yeah, I ended up jumping onto. They had 4 tables. It was really, really, really annoying because I went down there, tried to find Mr. B's. Mr. B's is closed down.
No way!
Couldn't believe it. The only remnant that's left of Mr. B's is a tiny little bee sticker on the side of one of the walls. Right, it's now Sunspot has been taken over. Sorry, this is really terrible for anyone else. Everyone else in the country has never been to Southend before, but Mr. B's was the arcade. And
I'm sure anyone who lives in any area where there are arcades will sort of recognise the general theme. That
oh, yeah. Like one shuts down and it's taken over by the one next door. And so
they fill them all with fruit machines nowadays.
Yeah, totally. And it was just like, but it was absolutely lovely just to walk into that, like walking through those plate glass doors, and then just be in this dark, dingy room with like still got the old 80s neon, and like it's just like you can't even move your elbows left or right because you're going to hit an arcade machine. It was brilliant.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was wicked. And then right in the back, Sunspot had the only 4 pinball tables I could find, all right? And they were Ripley's Believe It or Not, Playboy, Elvis, and Monster Bash. Now, 2 of those tables, I've found out, were Pinball Hall of Fame tables that are in Vegas.
Did you get their autographs?
Yes, I did.
Nice.
They had a bit of trouble like holding the pen, but I sort of jammed it in there and moved me bit of paper around, so yeah, it was all good. But played on Ripley's Believe It or Not, which was great. And then but then they had like it goes all round the world, and it's like we're going off to Europe, and you get like like a French guy talking or whatever. But then it went, we're off to Africa, and then it has this incredible. I'm not even going to do it. It's that bad. This incredibly stereotyped kind of African chief guy, and I just think, and it was like, hold on, is this racist? Am I playing on a racist pinball table? Is that even possible?
It's not even an excuse that it's from the 50s or something, is it?
No.
It's quite a modern table.
Yeah, it was just like, hold on, this doesn't... I feel a bit dirty playing this now. Oh, no. Oh, no. So, like, finished up there. Like, obviously, I'm stood there with my stepdaughter, and I'm going...
Did you finish it? Did you finish the 3 balls?
Yes, I did. I did finish the 3 balls, and I got.
So you didn't make like a hardcore political stance, by the way?
No, I didn't just walk away from it. Like, that's it. This is offending me. Arcade manager, take this machine away from me.
So you placed sanctions, but you kept the deals that were already in place going.
Yes, exactly. So, and then...
See, it doesn't sound any more racist than, Crash Bandicoot. That's got the African face mask.
I don't know, mate. It felt to me like, with the guys you were saying Resident Evil 5, the African guys in that.
Oh, yeah.
It felt a little bit like that, and it was a little bit borderline, and I felt a little bit uncomfortable. But then, while I was playing that table, I had the, hey guys, there's an old man playing pinball. Like a group of young lads must have only been about like sort of 12, 13 years old. Like,
Yeah.
oh look, there's a bloke playing pinball, quick! And then they all huddled round me and going, oh, you're well good at this. Oh, this is wicked. And I was like, okay, I am now the old guy who plays pinball. Fantastic. Oh, why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? What's this for? And I was like, oh God, no. Just kill me.
You show them how to trap the ball on the flipper and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and all that kind of stuff. And it was just like, yeah. I felt incredibly old. Incredibly old. So anyway, right. So I moved away from that, and then I went onto the Playboy table next to me, and I thought, all right, okay, Playboy on pinball, interesting. Playing away, and then I found out that there's I did the little twanger at the bottom, and I kind of only half pulled it, trying to get a skill shot. What I didn't realise is that on the Playboy table, if you do the skill shot, there's a magazine, right? On the just over the kind of the exit way, right? If you hit that skill shot correctly, magazine opens up. There's a lovely photograph of a lady with her boobs out. Fantastic. So not only did I feel dirty for playing Ripley's Believe It or Not with a slightly racist African chief, I'm now playing on the pinball table with the lady with her boobs out, with my stepdaughter next to me.
It sounds
just
perfectly Essex, doesn't it?
Oh, it was just it was incredible. It's like, right, I'm going to play on the Elvis table, and he's going to die on the toilet or something.
Yeah,
it's
going to like feed you drugs through the machine.
Exactly. I just thought, oh, this is going horribly wrong. You know, what's going on here?
We may not have many tables, but they're either racist or they've got tits in, so it's perfect.
Yeah, nice one, son. Right, how many tables you got? Oh, I've got 6 tables here. Right, which ones are racist and which ones have got boobs in? So I moved away from that swiftly. There was a terrible sight though. Right, it almost brought a tear to my eye. I had a Daytona machine. I thought, oh, brilliant, Daytona, fantastic. Right next to it was a Time Crisis 2 machine. But what had happened to this poor Time Crisis 2 machine was that it had obviously broken down and no one wanted to repair it. So they've just shoved it in a corner and then shoved a newer machine in front of it and blocked it in. So there's this poor like Time Crisis 2 machine all hemmed in by like kick football, where you've got to kick a football as hard as you can. Yeah. And it was just like I just imagined it like being a Toy Story like scenario where like at night the machines all come on and you've got the Time Crisis one in the corner going, I wish I could be allowed to have someone play on me just this once. It looked really like forlorn and lonely. I just wanted to
guys, I'm back here. Hello.
Yeah, exactly. I just wanted to go over to the arcade manager and go, look, I don't know how much money it is to take that off your hands, but I'll have it. Just take it out. You can't hem it in like that. It's Time Crisis 2 for crying out loud. But so that was horrible. And then I found what else did I say? Crazy Taxi Machine. That was quite unusual. Mario Kart. I didn't know that was in the arcades.
Yeah. It's by Namco, isn't it? I think.
Yeah. So that blew me away. And then the monolith that was Pac-Man Battle Royale. 4-player Pac-Man battle machine. Nice. It was amazing. It was huge as well. Like sort of twice my height. I've got a picture of it. I'll put it out on Twitter. So if you ever look at my Twitter feed, it's on there. But yeah, it's amazing. It's basically 4-player Pac-Man where you can attack each other. If you get the power pill, you get to chase the other players around and you can eat them. And then if you eat them, the game stops and then resets. And you go again, and the first to, like 4 lives wins, basically. Like 4 taken out 4 of the other players wins. So,
other than that, are the mechanics kind of the same?
Yeah, like, exactly. I mean, it was very much Pac-Man DX, Championship Edition. It was very much like that, but a big old machine, and it was 4 players all attack, and it was just I was just playing it thinking this would be amazing on XBLA, like chasing each other around, like 4 guys on XBLA playing this, all chasing each other around, trying to get them, fighting over the one power pellet and chasing each other around. It would be amazing. But
even just the mode as like a bit of DLC for as you say, Pac-Man CEDX.
Yeah.
Like, even if they didn't put the whole thing on there, just put in like a 4-player at once mode.
It was brilliant. There was me, my stepdaughter, and my missus all playing that, and it was a whale of a time. Just kept putting pounds and pounds into that. It was flipping brilliant. And then, and then to top it all off, had a great giggle watching my stepdaughter trying to play Final Furlong. You know, the horse racing game where you get on the horse and you know, nod it, you shake the horse around and to make it run. And she's not the most coordinated child in the world. God love her, you know, but she's willing and she's, you know, she tries. And basically she was just stood on it, bouncing up and down while throttling this thing by the neck, going nowhere. I've got a video of it somewhere. I'll have to post it up, but it's hilarious just watching her basically throttle this fucking horse to
So
death.
she's not getting a pony for her birthday then?
No, exactly. She's definitely not getting a pony for her birthday because it would be dead and I'd be selling it for horse meat. It was ridiculous. But yeah, so that was my sort of, and then got nicely sunburnt and came home again. It was brilliant.
Oh, good stuff. It's always nice to have a day out of the arcades.
No, it was wicked.
Even, I know they're not ever going to be what they used to be.
No.
But even if you can just find a few machines on a seafront, it still brings back some of those feelings, doesn't it? So.
Yeah, it was amazing. And it was like amazing to see how like the exteriors haven't changed since like the 80s, you know. It was all still like neons and get the late, you know, one of the neons was like the latest video games. And it was like, you know, it's like proper 80s sticky carpet, the full business. It was just like, but everything's like all these, what they call one-armed bandits. You know what I mean? It was all like that. There's like hardly any arcade actual machines in there anymore. It was like kind of a little bit depressing in a way. It was a bit weird, but I'm glad I went down there just for the pinball, if nothing else.
Do you think it was because you remember when the first, well, not the first big machines, because like Outrun and stuff, they seem to coexist with your normal arcade machines with 2 joysticks, 3 buttons, and a screen, like a proper cabinet.
Yeah.
But do you remember like sort of mid-90s where it seemed like everything was this big Sega sit-down machine? Everything seemed to be really costly.
If it was a driving game, it had a big cockpit that you sat in, or if it was a flying game, it was a big seat that span round, or you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is very much now, like, it's gone away from the kind of single cabinet, you know, like, that. I didn't see one fighting game down there, to be honest with you. It was all driving games. It was all light gun games. You know, there was, like, Rambo and Ghost Squad and Silent Scope was down there, that kind of stuff. And there was this one with a massive minigun, Vulcan or something it was called.
Yeah.
And that looked mental, but it was like the size of like my living room, this machine, you know. It was all like the big event kind of machines, and there wasn't just the sort of single small cabinet, you know, like you say, side scrollers and stuff like that. They were all just gone. It was all just big event. Basically, it was racing machines, shooting light gun shooters, and kicking football games, pretty much. You know,
I guess if you're going to make a side-scrolling beat 'em up or platformer or something like that, you're going to put it on XBL or on iPhone these days.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it was a bit weird, but you know, remembering back to when I used to go down there and all it was Mortal Kombat and you know track and field and road blasters and that kind of thing. So yeah, it was a bit weird.
Do you remember when like even pubs used to have pinball machines in and stuff, didn't they?
Yes, mate.
Like, sorry, I'm just sounding like an old man, but I just think it's a real shame that like.
Yeah, well, it's just
pinball's just gone from this country completely.
Gone totally, and it's like I said, there was 4, and then in the entirety of Southend Seafront, that I could find, and it was just like there's something about it. I can't explain what it is about the tables. It was just like when you play it on the computer, and you can get a 24 million score, and the ball flows perfectly, but there's something about having those rails and the actual mechanics of it. That's the thing, isn't it?
It's mechanical and analog, yet it feels like a video game.
Yeah, totally.
They're so well designed, aren't they?
No, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Like I said, I must have spent we went down there and we probably spent 4 hours down there, and a good 2 hours of that was just me on pinball tables, like just because the feel of it. There's something about the tactile feel of those buttons and kind of getting your shoulder into it and kind of nudging the ball and rocking the machine around a bit and giving it a bit of welly. You can't get off of a PlayStation or an Xbox pad, because it's all too digital and it's all too precise.
And also, like, I know that with analog triggers you can change the hardness you're hitting the flippers, but literally smacking the side of that table you can't do, can you?
No, exactly. But now we are getting into the territory of I remember back in the day when you used to be able to hit a pinball table. Oh, yeah, they love it. I used to love it, all my mates watching me hit the pinball table, getting a tilt. Oh, yeah, that was amazing back in the day. Do you remember that, son?
I only used to hit it when it was on the African level, though. I didn't. Man, it's before we close out on the pinball, have you ever listened to the Sega Addicts podcast? I know I shouldn't really give another podcast a shout out, but they're really nice guys.
Yeah,
One of them designs, you know, the dot matrix displays you get on pinball machines?
Yes.
He designs the animation for that.
Oh, amazing.
And he didn't sort of explain what his job was. He said, oh, yeah, I work on pinball machines. And then after a while, they kind of wheedled it out of him. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'll do the animation for the dot matrix displays. And they're like, what? Why didn't you tell us earlier? Like, that's really fascinating.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So, he's got some amazing stories about the wonderful world of pinball for all the pinball fans out there. I suddenly said that they're amazing stories, and then they're probably only amazing stories for about 3 people in the world. But,
yeah, exactly, who are well bang into pinball.
You been playing anything else?
Other than that, mate, other than getting sunburnt down the seafront, I've been playing Crisis 2. So it's a weird old game because I started it. It was the best way I can describe it is a game of thirds, not a Game of Thrones. Game of thirds, right? First third was like absolutely. I picked it up and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. This is the shooter I've been looking for forever, you know. And like the reason I picked it up, just to go back, is because I saw Crisis 3 at E3 and I thought, oh, that looks really like pretty. I wonder what Crisis 2's like, you know, to give me a bit of knowledge on the series and that.
Yeah.
So like I say, going back to it, picked it up, thought, oh, this is really good. Like you've got this, like the mechanics of it are like feel really solid and they're very Call of Duty like, and like you've got this like stealth suit and you can hide. So there's this like kind of weird Metal Gear evasion stealth that you can do in a first person shooter. So you can kind of like I had this great moment where I'd kind of taken out 2 guys with a silenced machine gun. Which alerted the guards, then went stealth, hid, let the guards go past me, came out, did the stealth kill, did both of those, then kind of, obviously my energy had drained on the stealth suit, so then turned the suit back off, hid somewhere else, while the other 2 guys came around on their patrol to find those 2 guys that had just gone down, went back into stealth, killed those 2 guys, and then sort of walked on, and then walked past 2 other guys near the exit of the level, still selfed up, and then like sort of walked out. I was like, right, I just basically fired off like 3 or 4 shots, killed 2 guys with the gun. The rest of it, I just completely stealthed my way through and just walked through the scenario without really taking any shots whatsoever. And I thought, this is brilliant. First person shooter, I don't have to shoot anything. I could, if I play it right, sneak my way through. This is brilliant.
First person walker.
Yeah, it was really weird. Like, if you play it the right way, you can sneak your way through any level, or any part of any level. So
has it got vehicles in it?
It has got vehicles, but they don't really get used. They are like sort of almost turret sections and stuff like that.
Because in the first one, obviously, it's got like a more open landscape.
Yeah.
So the vehicles kind of work, which is why I was wondering how they work it in a city with vehicles.
Yeah, no. This game is set in New York. And I'll be honest with you, the story has no depth to it whatsoever, and I didn't really follow it. And it's just your average popcorn action movie, turn your brain off, funnel you down a path, and then come out into a nice couple of tactical areas. You sort of walk down a path, get to a tactical area, it tells you that it's a tactical area, and then you carry on, and then you decide whether you want to sneak your way through it or shoot your way through it, or a combination of the 2. And this is what happened, is that the start of the game was brilliant, and it shows you all this stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, brilliant, I can have all these options. And then you get into the middle third of it, and then you realise, like, I'll mix it up a little bit, but I'm just trolling through quite linear levels that are quite boring, they almost felt like artificial lengthening in the middle. It's just kind of like, yeah, okay, so there's another building that's been bombed out, walk through that, okay, kill a few people. Oh, okay, right, so I've now come to a big open area, or I can stealth my way through or not. Okay, right, and then walk through another building that's been bombed out. Okay, oh, another open area. Oh, what a surprise. And it's just like, oh, God, is this game going to be like this all the way through? And then you get to the end. And then the end, all of a sudden, it's like the kind of designers woke up and went, oh fuck, oh brilliant, oh shit, he's near the end. quick, chuck a load of really exciting stuff and cutscenes and like mad set pieces. Yeah, chuck a load of set pieces at it. Yeah, it's finished. Right, okay, bye. And you're just like, fuck me, where did this come from? Oh, all right, okay, I'm finished now. Brilliant, okay. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but, you know, that was all right. And I just felt like if they'd have just chopped the middle out and made it 8 hours as opposed to like 10 to 12 or whatever.
But then they would have had the complaints that, it's too short.
It's too short. Oh, it's too short. But I think it just suffers from a bit of pacing. If someone had looked at the pacing a bit better in this game, it could have actually been a really, really, really solid game.
I'd take a handful of the set pieces that you like from either end and put them in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it was really good. It was a bit kind of all in a bit sort of BioShock / Fallout New Vegas at the end. But like, yeah, it was like I said, I really enjoyed the start and the end of it, and it was just the middle felt a little bit like kind of saggy and just not really have anything of it. But
now, we can't talk about a Crysis game without at least mentioning the graphics. Like I know, it's a real graphics horse, but does it look sweet?
Yeah, for an Xbox game, it does look very, very pretty. It's not as pretty as kind of. I had played Crysis 1 on the PC, so it was kind of like difficult to compare it.
Sure.
Because obviously I'd had the bright shiny of like the PC and its amazing graphics, but yeah, for an Xbox game, it is very, very good.
Because I thought possibly Crysis 2 was them sort of flexing their muscles on the new engine, on CryEngine 3, like more of not a tech demo, because as you say, it has got great bits of gameplay to it. But I always worried that it was more them putting together a game just so they could test the engine and have it ready for Crysis 3. But
yeah, it does feel like a bit of a kind of showing off their tech, because there's a lot of what I noticed is, and this is with a lot of the EA games now, there's loads of Mirror's Edge tech in it now. Like with Syndicate and like Battlefield 3 and like with Crysis 2 as well. Like you can sprint along and then hit duck and it will do the Mirror's Edge slide, and you'll slide under something and still be able to shoot. And like, just like jumping over walls and there's loads of little bits and bobs like jumping and pulling yourself. Like in this game, you can, because you've got the suit and you can jump slightly higher, you can jump up and grab a ledge and pull yourself up and all that kind of stuff. And it's funny because I was just sitting there thinking like, right, so everyone's waiting for a Mirror's Edge 2, but what they've actually done is to recoup their money. It's basically just spread that tech out over all their games and then make that R&D for those bits of tech that they've used just comes out of those other budgets. So
it's
like
almost cost elsewhere.
Yeah, exactly. So you're never really going to see a Mirror's Edge 2 because you've seen basically bits of it in other games. Does that make sense?
I still think there might be a Mirror's Edge 2. It's been confirmed last year, isn't it?
Did it? Was it?
Well, not actually officially announced, but a guy from EA said it's definitely being worked on. Yeah. So
the thing is,
I think you're right but what they're going to have to do is magpie back and steal all the shiny bits of all the other games that have borrowed it.
Exactly. But if they ever do a Mirror's Edge 2, they're going to have to do it without the guns. Because the only way, the way I found that game Mirror's Edge fun was as soon as I played a no guns run through of it, because it's made it so much more tense.
It's almost it feels like a no guns game anyway, almost, doesn't it? It feels like they're just thrown in just because they had to have guns in there. So,
yeah. I had a nightmare with that because I tried to do a no guns run through, and I punched a guy, picked his gun up, went to drop it, pushed the wrong button, and fired it off, and that was it. The one shot that I made. Yeah, that was it, and I'd ruined the run through. And it was like, so I didn't get.
Can you go back to like an earlier save or anything, or could you just not be asked by that point?
I couldn't be asked by that point. It was just like, oh bollocks, fuck it, let's just get to the end of the game. But yeah, that was wicked, man. I loved that game. Absolutely loved that game.
As you were saying about like the shared tech, I think DICE seem to be so good at sharing their tech among the rest of EA, don't they?
Oh yeah,
I know
totally.
It's probably because they're told to, but like even in FIFA, they're now using like some of the animation tech, aren't they? From like from Battlefield. Yeah.
Oh, right, brilliant.
Oh, or is it the other way around? Oh no.
What, all these like kind of footballers running around in Battlefield 3?
Yeah,
kicking footballs at the enemies.
I think it's that they've taken some of the animation from, like, just for the movement of like falling and stuff like that. They've again borrowed from DICE and.
Oh, nice! I'll have to have a look out for that.
The only thing that's sad about there being no Mirror's Edge 2 is that it may have nicked bits of. They may have borrowed bits of tech from here and there, but the actual gameplay of Mirror's Edge was quite Mario-like in a way, like almost like a classic platformer.
Yeah,
where you're like looking out for the red things to follow, and you know that classic Nintendo Zelda and Mario thing where you think, right, I've looked everywhere for the solution to this puzzle. Then you realise it's been staring you in the face the whole time.
You've been staring at the red pipe that you didn't realise was a red pipe that you could jump on. That kind of thing.
Or you could have done like a wall jump to there, and then you have to sort of piece together your own limitations as a player. And
sort of. Oh, I thought that was a little bit too high. Oh, yeah, right, okay. If I jump off this and this, then that's wicked. Brilliant game. If you haven't picked it up, get it.
It's dirt cheap now as well. Like you won't pay more than $5 for it. Do it.
No, exactly. So what else have you been doing, man?
I've been playing a bit of a weird game on iPhone. It's called Mushroom Age, which it doesn't really tell you anything about the game other than like vague spoilers for the plot.
It's about old mushrooms.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, sort of ancient mushrooms.
Oh, okay.
Sounds like an Ozric Tentacles album, doesn't it?
The Ancient Mushrooms.
But yeah, it's a hidden object game. So, have you played one of those?
No.
They're like for the most casual of gamers, pretty much.
Okay, so my mum will love it.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing. They have a lot of them masquerading as detective games on the DS.
Oh, okay.
Where I don't mean things like Phoenix Wright. Like these are very different.
Like Sherlock Holmes, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, that could well be one of them. The no-name detective games seem to be this. It's a genre where, you know, the pixel hunting in point-and-click games. Yeah. Imagine that as a whole game. Like it's pretty much that.
Wow, that's fun.
Isn't it? And it just. But this actual hidden object game has got like a lot more to it.
Okay.
It's got point-and-click puzzles and little mini games. And the weirdest dialogue I've possibly ever heard. Like, it's just such an odd sense of humour. Like, you start playing it and you think this is a kid's game. And then you think, no, because no kid is going to get that joke and that joke and that joke and that joke. Like, I don't want to like give away too many spoilers because it's all about the story, really. It's just an excuse to tell a story. But at the start, you meet this inventor who looks just like Einstein, with a voice just like Einstein. And your character says, wow, you look and sound just like Albert Einstein. And he says, I'm definitely not Albert Einstein, I'm Albert Steinbock. And she's like, are you sure? Because you do sound an awful lot like Albert Einstein. He's like, no, it's Steinbock, definitely Steinbock. And it's like...
Very self-referential, yeah.
Like, so are you telling me you've actually hidden Einstein as a character, but he's pretending that he's not him? It's... all really weird. You get
odd.
A camp velociraptor when you go to the prehistoric.
Now, do you mean a velociraptor for the camp you're staying in, or do you mean as a hello, I'm fabulous, going to bite your head off?
Exactly like that. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, like George from Rainbow suddenly turned into a velociraptor, like his sort of evolutionary descendant or prescendant.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's just the weirdest little game. It's on PC as well. And you can get a demo for either iPhone or PC. And you only get like this little opening chapter. But I just suggest giving it a go just for the weirdness of the jokes and the writing and pretty good voice acting. Like, it seems to have really high production values, and I just can't figure out where this game's come from. Like, who made it? It's one of them games where you think no one's actually made this. It just sort of appeared one day.
Yeah, it's just
on someone's computer.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, totally bizarre. And it's nothing major, but I just thought I'd mention it just because it's quite good fun.
Right, fair enough. Right, so we have been playing Left 4 Dead for a bit, haven't we, mate?
Yeah, we
managed
did.
Managed to coax you out into the wonderful world of Xbox Live. And kind of, with a little bit of bread and some milk.
Yeah, that's the one, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a Hansel and Gretel style trail.
Exactly.
You led the trail round a whole Peggle level. I thought they were the orange pegs. And then you led it round a Battlefield 1943 map, and I thought, nom, 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 nom. Then I ended up in Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, exactly. Unbelievable. We were a load of zombies looking a bit freaked out. Yeah. But, so for anyone who doesn't know, right, Dan is not the biggest advocate of headsets, are you, mate?
Well, I mean, I don't know what I didn't originally have anything against them. I just didn't use it. I didn't play games where people used it, really.
No, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? So, like, in Peggle, people don't really use a headset.
No.
And in like 1943, a rare number of people do, but it's your sort of like 10-year-old kids.
Yeah, and you just want to take the headset out and just not listen to them.
Yeah, throw it away. So I've just not used it, really.
Oh, right. Yeah. So I thought, right, what we'll do, let's find a good game for Dan. Left 4 Dead, nice bit of 4-player co-op, get him on the headsets, get him communicating, like show him the wonderful, glory of using a headset online with your mates. So we drafted in Joey from Last Save Loaded. He was kind enough to join us, and we had a really, really cool session on Left 4 Dead 1.
Yeah, it's a good game, isn't it?
Yeah, man, it's wicked, absolutely wicked. Like, I really enjoy it. But I end up sort of barking orders and being a bit left, right, go over there, get this, get that, pick this up. Like, suddenly out of no bossy boots as I usually am. But you were saying
you wanted to save our lives.
Well, yeah, exactly. I just get well into it, But you came out with this amazing thing that you were saying, that basically, like, you found that playing with us two, that the headsets were taking you out of the immersion of the story.
Yeah. It felt to me like if I'd not had the headset on, or not been able to hear you guys, I would have felt the tension that you're supposed to feel from the game. Yeah. Like from the moments where, like, say, suddenly a zillion zombies all rush over a fence and that kind of thing. But as you're playing with other people, I just didn't feel that excitement. Maybe it's because I couldn't hear the sound in the game loud enough to pick up on the cues. Like, because there's a lot of audio cues in Left 4 Dead, aren't there?
Yeah, very much so.
Like, you'll get sort of noises before the event actually happens.
Yeah.
And then not being able to hear the characters in game talking to themselves, the sort of apprehension and the fear that you can hear in their voices.
Yeah.
I just didn't feel like I was playing Left 4 Dead when I've played it as a single-player game, which is completely the opposite of what everyone else says about Left 4 Dead, isn't it?
So the one interesting thing that you said to me when we were playing was, like, the immersion. Like, it just, when you were playing single-player, like, you felt really connected to, like Bill or Zoe or Lewis, like, you really wanted to save, those characters. Whereas when you were playing with Joey and I, because we were on headsets, you didn't feel like they were characters at all that you were playing. It was more like that they were just avatars, and they weren't people to save.
Well, I think it's that it made it so obvious that I was playing a game.
Right. Okay.
Do you know what I mean? That I lost the immersion because I couldn't suspend my disbelief in the situation. I mean, if it's a deathmatch game, I've had headset on and enjoyed that. Or even in like a co-op game, like even in Battlefield, I don't mind using it, just hardly anyone does. Like, I find that's fine, but in a game like Left 4 Dead, I just lost it. Totally broke the game for me.
Right.
It was the weirdest
weird,
thing.
because for me, like, because it's my friend, I know what you're saying. It's like it's a weird, like, you get this weird separation between the characters of, like, all of a sudden, like you were saying, they are avatars, but because it's like Dan and because it's Joe, like, they're my mates and I really want to save them. So I'm more worried about saving them and the tension of, oh no, Joe's just been jumped on by a hunter, let's get him. Like, I'm not thinking, oh, let's save Bill anymore. I'm thinking, let's save Dan, quick. He's been piled on by a hunter and, he's been dragged away by a smoker or whatever.
I can see your point, but I didn't feel any danger in that. They're just going to be in the safe room up ahead.
Yeah.
Anyway, I can't really, like, I think I've kind of explained what I mean, but it's difficult to get across when it seems like so few people sort of share.
No, totally. It was just really interesting. Like, it was really interesting to see, like, from, like, you had the completely, like, polar opposite of, like, you wanted to get really into the actual physical characters, whereas I just wanted to get into the real, like, people that were on the headsets talking to me.
No, I do understand.
It's really
so did I, but
man.
it just, like, so did I, and maybe in a different game it wouldn't work like that. Like I say, other co-op games it doesn't, but it felt more like sort of play acting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, pretend. Oh no, let's pretend we're excited. And
well, that was what I was doing, though, mate. I was trying to make it a bit more tense. Dan! Woo! Watch out for the zombies! Woo!
Like I say, it broke the game in some really weird way. Like, we'll have to try it with something else, and see how it works.
Definitely.
But yeah, it was definitely a weird one. Like, I obviously I wanted to, like, save you guys as players, but again, as I knew I was playing a game,
it was only us.
I knew that it didn't matter.
It was only
no, not at all. But that's the thing. They're not. It wasn't anyone. It's just a video game, and it doesn't matter because if you die, you're just going to be in the next safe room. So I couldn't feel any, like I say, tension. Weirdest thing.
Yeah,
but
proper mad. Yeah, I just thought it was
like it was fun.
Yeah,
but
it's a great game, isn't it?
Like, I just didn't play it as. I felt it like it was going through the motions of playing like a Quake Arena kind of style game.
Yeah.
You know those games where you kind of switch your brain off because you're concentrating on.
Yeah, you're literally concentrating on what you're doing, and everything else sort of goes out the window.
Well, yeah, I'm either concentrating on you as people, or or maybe it was just a sort of dissociation, I suppose, is the best way to put it.
Weird, man.
Be interesting to hear from anyone else if they've got any like views on that, like either way.
Or just like with headsets in general, do you find that?
Well, no, because when we went online with Madge and Willie.
Oh, yeah, the console
Jake
ninjas, didn't we?
Thursday. Yeah, we went. Yeah, on Thursday night we went online with the console ninjas, and we were playing a whole range of different games. So maybe that kind of worked better because it was more. It didn't matter that we were playing.
Yeah.
Like, there wasn't meant to be tension in trials and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's about the competition rather than
just having a laugh with your mates, and because there wasn't any added tension, then didn't feel like you were forced into a narrative almost. Yeah.
I think that's probably partly what it is. But like I say, interested to try it with other things because it seems like it might be a solely Left 4 Dead thing. Thinking about
it could be
what both said about it from both sides about where we find the tension in the game. It might just be I've got a complete disconnect with that game and multiplayer.
Maybe, mate. Maybe.
Also, sometime I'd love to try it without headsets just to sort of see if my theory does follow through.
Yeah.
But,
I'd imagine that would make it even more tense for me because I wouldn't be able to shout like, "Oh my god, you're under this or I'm under that or someone's dragging me away."
But then it's up to us as players in that universe to be
even more vigilant.
Yeah, because it's like having sort of telepathy switched on, which do you know what I mean for the characters in the game?
Yeah, totally.
In a weird way. And I think that's what I find a bit weird about it.
Cool. So is that everything then, man?
I think that's us covered for what we've been playing.
Sweet. Let's get to a break then.
Let's do
a break.
Congratulations to Dilpish, who wins this week's Games Mister Golden Joystick, of which there's inherent innuendo to allow me to use a cheap and lazy knob gag to segue into the consultation zone.
Hello, Games Mister. Can you please help me on a game, please?
Ah, another drama school student pretending to be stuck weeding badly from an auto cue. How can I help you?
On Playboy Pinball, how do I get to see the boobs?
Playboy Pinball, one of my favourite machines, due to my penchant for mixing arcade games with pictures of large breasticles. To see these magnificent jubblies for yourself, simply pull back the plunger between 1/2 and 3/4 of the full distance when launching the ball to activate Skill Shot.
Thank you, Games Mister.
Not a problem. Always happy to help a 9-year-old see a little softcore pornography. Who's next?
Hi, Games Mister. I was wondering if you could tell me how to unlock Fun Mode in Duke Nukem Forever.
Ah, that old chestnut. Unfortunately, just like the mythical code to be Goro in Mortal Kombat, there is sadly no way to activate any kind of fun at all in Duke Nukem Forever. Even game geniuses like me can't work miracles, I'm afraid. Now be off with you, impudent wretch. Time for one more question.
Hello, Games Mister. I'm having trouble getting to level 3 of Hello Kitty Roller Rescue. Can you give me some advice, please?
Hello, young lady. Hello Kitty Roller Rescue on the Sony PlayStation 2 can be particularly tricky to get past the second level. What you must do is remove the disc from the console and bury it in the ground on the night of a full moon with a lock of a baby's hair, a chicken bone dipped in the sweat of a virgin, and 3 ripe figs. The next morning, dig up the disc and simply stand in front of the bathroom mirror and pledge eternal allegiance to our Lord Beelzebub.
Is that really safe, Games Mister?
Well, you could always tap triangle, triangle, circle, square, X, then R1 and start together at the title screen instead. But it's not half as much fun.
Okay, thank you, Games Mister.
Always a pleasure. And don't forget to pass my fondest regards to my good friend Satan. I'll be back next week in front of a green screen, pretending I know about computer games. Until then, goodbye.
And we're back. And you posted me a lovely picture the other day from when you were down at the Southend Seafront of quite a modern game. Is it Ford Racing Full Blown?
That's the one, yeah. Sega's Ford Racing Full Blown, yeah. I was very, very surprised that playing through and played this bog standard racing game. It was all very good. And then the attract screen came up and there was the Bitmap Brothers logo. And I was like, I haven't seen that logo since like the early 90s.
Yeah, like the iconic hand pushing on. It's a bit like one of them pin.
Yeah, like the thing you push your hand. Yeah, exactly. But I was just like completely shocked. I was like, Dan, this is where the Bitmap Brothers are now.
Yeah.
They're making really weird, rubbish, like kind of arcade racing games.
They're now doing like outsourced stuff for like Sega, which must be like, I don't know, that's like working in, like a pound shop, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. That's like going from like working in Harrods to working in like Lidl's.
Yeah. Very odd. But also the other week with Joey, you said that Chaos Engine was like one of your favourite games. So I thought I'd like I thought it was best to have a little chat about the Bitmap Brothers.
Yes, mate. Yeah. Bit of a retro corner, as we said we were gonna.
Well, and also, like, I don't know quite as much as that guy that was on in the break, but I do know a few bits and bobs about the Bitmap Brothers.
Right.
Because back in the day, we kind of looked at them as heroes, as school kids. Was it the same thing like you guys?
Yeah, very much so. They were like I've said before, they were kind of the rock star developers that kind of everyone knew. You knew that the Bitmap Brothers game, if it was coming out, would be amazing and look gorgeous and play really well and just be brilliant,
and have the wicked music.
Yes, man. So yeah, it was they were the only. That was probably the first time where I knew a developer's name and would buy a game based on that.
Yeah, it seemed to be like, because obviously the Amiga was kind of their home base, really, wasn't it?
Yes, mate.
I know they did like ST games as well, but the Amiga is where they sort of found their feet.
Yeah.
But I suddenly realised why they always had that cool music.
Why?
Because like they had like S Express, Bomb the Bass, Betty Boo. Maybe not quite so cool, but still pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like for the time. And nowadays she's like writing songs for like pretty much every pop star going. So,
yeah, exactly.
But it turns out that they had a sort of like, when we look at it now, them having a licensing deal with Rhythm King Records is really obvious.
Oh right, okay.
And but at the time, it looked like, oh wow, they're so cool that pop stars want to put their songs in their games.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Which, when you look at it now, like for Tony Hawk's, I realised I was at the age where I knew it was like a licensing deal.
Yeah.
But again, for kids, it must seem like, wow, Neversoft are a cool developer because they get loads of punk bands and hip hop bands and
loads of licensed music.
Yeah. So it got me to thinking, like, were the Bitmap Brothers really that cool? Like, they wore shades, which, okay, that's a way of showing you're cool in a magazine. Do you know what I mean?
Is that the definitive area of cool? Did they wear black Ray-Bans?
This was the late 80s, so maybe there was a bit of that. Yes, this is what stands for cool. But, so I went back and played a number of their games, and just to see if it was the gameplay or if it was like a matter of style over substance.
Okay.
Now, I started with Xenon, which was their first game, or Xenon. Yeah. How would you pronounce it?
It was Xenon for me.
Yeah, Xenon, yeah. Now, the first one is where I remember first hearing of the Bitmap Brothers. Right. There was an article in, do you remember Ace magazine?
No, I was more of a kind of your Sinclair, that era type
Yeah.
magazine.
Oh, this is around that era.
Yeah.
It was a multi-format magazine, quite a lot like Games TM, thinking about it.
Right.
Like the slightly, or a bit edge, like the slightly more coffee table side of the games magazine market. The best thing about Edge was they reviewed games out of 1,000.
Right, nice.
So, like, you can imagine the meetings in the office, like, oh, I don't know, should Xenon 2 get an 894 or an 895?
And people complain about 100 points.
I know.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine the internet wars? There would be over 1,000 point scale. That'd be ridiculous.
It's nuts, isn't it?
Yeah, mate.
Which is why I wish Ace magazine still existed, just for that 1,000 point score. Like, how arbitrary can you get? That last digit might as well not exist. But yeah, they had a big write-up on on Xenon, the original, before it came out, like a kind of in development feature.
Right.
And that's where I first saw the Bitmap Brothers with their like, I don't know how they got their cool sports cars, seeing as this was their first game. Maybe they just rented them for the day and like rented the shades. Like, can we rent some Ray-Bans and a Ferrari? Because we're doing an Ace Magazine photo shoot. I'm guessing it was a bit like that.
Yeah,
but the thing that struck me about it was that they managed to make their metal surfaces look like metal.
Yeah. Yeah. I know it sounds like ridiculous now, to anyone listening, but there was something about that aesthetic that was absolutely stunning for the time. There was whoever their artist was just had metal and rivets and all that kind of stuff down to a T. It was amazing.
I mean, it was two guys that actually came up with the aesthetic. There was Mark John Coleman and Dan Malone.
Oh, okay.
And they weren't actually part of the Bitmap Brothers as such. They worked with them. I think they ended up becoming sort of part of the team.
Right.
But at first, it was a bit like with Wipeout, where the Designers Republic were responsible for the aesthetic.
There was like a design house.
Psygnosis. Yeah. I'm guessing it was like that, but on an earlier scale. And obviously, it wouldn't be a design studio working on like 8-bit sprites and that kind of thing. But it was very much a bought-in deal, which it started making me look at Bitmap Brothers in a different way.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, so the music was part of a licensing deal. The graphics were like people
outsourced.
Vaguely outsourced, at least by their mates.
Right.
And so they start to look like more like your modern publisher these days.
Oh, right, okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like, they weren't a publisher. They like all of their games were published by other people, but they were kind of a sort of go-between almost. Do you know what I mean? Like, like they did come up with the game ideas, but it's just the way that I saw them in my mind's eye as a child.
It's like two guys slaving over a machine and kind of punting out code.
Yeah, and like phoning up like the guy from Bomb the Bass and being like, "Oh, please, can we use your tunes though?" Like, which I'm guessing it was when
back in the day,
not
to a degree.
A downer on it, I'm not sounding like it's not quite cool for a developer to write to a really cool label and say, "Can we use your tunes for our games?" Like,
exactly.
Obviously, it gives you such a it was a leap to the mainstream. Do you know what I mean? It was that's kind of how it felt for me at the time. It was like, wow, like at the same time that acid house and rave and like all this cool British culture was on the rise, so were this development team. So
exactly, and they were bringing it into their games and stuff.
Yeah, and it's one of those. Like I say, I think it's one of those companies where I'd rather keep the nostalgia in my mind, which obviously I couldn't do for doing this.
No, exactly.
But I went back and played Xenon 2.
Yeah, which was just amazing. Like, it was a vertically scrolly, uply downly shooter, wasn't it?
I'd forgotten you could actually go down.
Yeah, no, exactly. You could go forward and back and run.
Yeah,
all over
you can only go back. Like, you often get hit by enemies coming from the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's where I sort of noticed even more. Having played Velocity recently, I probably should have remembered that you could go backwards in Xenon 2, because
that was kind of my first kind of it obviously played 1942 and 1943 and that kind of thing, but that was the first one that kind of really got me really into shooters.
Mate, like, don't play it now.
No, I won't. I'll leave it in my mind.
Yeah, leave it in your memory, man, because compared to like the big Japanese shooters of the day, like your 1942s, your Gradius, your R-Type, your Prehistoric Eye, all that kind of thing, it's like I say, it's style over substance, and I mean that in the best way. Like
it's very pretty.
It looks nice. It sounds great, but the actual gameplay of it seems like one of those. Do you remember the public domain games you used to get on the Amiga?
Yes.
It's one of those with really nice graphics and really good sound, which now I'm looking at it, I can see exactly why it's like that, because that's what it is.
But you're destroying my childhood here.
Oh, man, I don't even mean... I just think it's interesting that it's kind of the way that games are made now, but they obviously saw, hang on, why are we making our own graphics when we're not graphic designers?
But is your bit of a kind of, to put it in a crap way, your downer on this, that you're looking at this with an era of kind of hindsight and looking at developing that.
Oh yeah, that's exactly why it's not a downer. It's like they're brilliant. Like, they were brilliant businessmen in a video game sense. Nowadays, it's just that it's very different to how I saw them as a kid, which is like explains the brilliance in itself. Do you know what I mean? They marketed themselves so well.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, they did bring out some bloody good games. I mean,
they
like,
were, man. Speedball 2. That's the one that kept me going when I was going back to all of these.
No, exactly. See, at the time I was obsessed with Kickoff 2, and then this game came out that was, very similar to that. You could curl the ball in Kickoff 2. You could curl the ball in Speedball 2. You know, you had all this kind of paraphernalia around the edge of the pitch, and it was a totally different game to something that we've been playing before.
I love the little loop multiplier for the ball.
Yeah, exactly. There was loads of these little mechanics, and
it's like super football. I'd love to see a real game of Speedball, wouldn't you?
No, exactly. Yeah, totally. You know, it's amazing. You know, but I used to love that game, and it was, you know, that was the one that really, of all the Bitmap Brothers games, that I played the most, I would imagine.
That still holds up to this day, actually.
Yeah, totally. I mean, well, it holds up enough for them to bring it out on the iPad and the iPhone and that kind of thing. So
yeah, I was just about to say I've been playing that. I tried the Amiga version, the Mega Drive version, and on my iPod Touch.
Bloody hell.
And like the Mega Drive one's the one I'm used to most.
Yeah.
So I probably connected with it better on that level. I was better at playing it.
Mm.
But the one today, it sort of connects with my nostalgia glands. Yeah. And also, like, it has that sort of spark of using the Retina display. It's like...
Yeah, exactly. No, it
so
still
it's
looks
nice
lovely.
that it's held up. Yeah.
No, exactly.
And the other game that holds up of theirs for me is the Chaos Engine.
Yes, my favourite game of the Amiga, probably.
Yeah, your Desert Island game, apparently.
Yes, mate. Yeah. Absolutely love that.
See, at the time, I thought of it more as a not very good Gauntlet-style game.
Like more of a shooter.
Yeah, more of a shoot-'em-up.
Yeah.
Whereas going back to it now, it feels a bit like a proto-Diablo almost.
Yeah, exactly. See,
where it's about the collecting the money to get the upgrades on the weapons and so on. And
yeah, so that was the thing with me, that the reason I liked the Chaos Engine so much was that there was this kind of, it was like one of the first times that I'd played a game with like kind of RPG elements. And like you say, you were killing stuff to then get coins, to then upgrade weapons. And there was, you know, different paths and hidden areas. And like you say, it was very Diablo looty kind of, you know.
And monster boxes, which you still get in like ML1.
Exactly, monster closets and all that kind of stuff. And it was just so different. And what drew me in as well, being from like a designy background, was kind of that whole. There was the steampunk aesthetic. It was like one of the first steampunky type games that I'd really ever seen, and that really drew me in. You know, I used to absolutely love that kind of just the way it looked.
Also, the character design is fantastic as well.
Yeah, no,
they'd hold up in any game nowadays. You could use those same 6 characters.
Yeah, totally.
As your choices, and it would still be perfect.
Totally. So, you know, it was just the whole. For me, it was the whole package. It was something that it was Akari Warriors, but you know, like you say, with RPG elements and interesting stuff going on behind the scenes with it. It was kind of, it just blew me away at the time.
See, that's the one thing I found that they did seem to do very cleverly was nearly every one of their games has a shop to it and a monetary aspect and an upgrade system.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, again, at the time was probably quite unusual for a studio to have that in every single game. Like,
yeah, totally.
Saying, yes, we are going to have this RPG style upgrade mechanic in everything we do, whether it's a sports game, a shoot 'em up, a platform game like Magic Pockets. They're all going to have this sort of come back to the game
progression.
Element. A progression and an addictive mechanic purposefully put in. They're like a really, really clever team. It's just I wouldn't go back and play many of their games these days. Like, Gods.
Yeah, no,
Remember
exactly.
At the time, all the Amiga kids at my school were like, "Oh, it's the best game ever made."
Yeah,
like, throw away your Mega Drive.
That was the one game that I never really got into, mainly because the disc didn't work properly for me. It was that was the thing back in the day. It was like, oh, the disc doesn't work. Oh well, I'm not playing that game then. You know, you couldn't even imagine that now, like with an Xbox disc or a PlayStation disc. You know, the only way it's not going to work is if you've got a scratch on it or something. But then you just take it back to the shop or whatever. But like back in the day, it was kind of like, right, I've got this game of Gods, and it doesn't load up on my Amiga 500 Plus because it needs Workbench blah 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 to load. And it's like, oh, God.
And also, it's not like the shop has got all of the machines available to test it on.
No, exactly. When you take it back, exactly.
You just look like
You
It's
look
a
like
bit
you're...
like the boy who cried wolf.
Yeah,
It's
totally.
like the time when you got the wrong game for your birthday and you go in and say, yeah, I got this twice.
I haven't got
My
the
auntie
receipt.
got it for me and my nan got it for me.
Yeah, I haven't got the receipt, but...
Yeah.
Exactly.
I knew people that used to rent all of their Commodore 64 games through doing that. But they basically used it as a rental service.
That's horrible.
But hey, the 80s. Like,
So yeah,
it's your equivalent of a live streaming service, really, isn't it?
So you're now with 50-50 hindsight view on the Bitmap Brothers made some groundbreaking-ish games, but were more style over substance and good businessmen. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the way I'd put it, man. Yeah. Like I say, there's some that hold up. Speedball 2, I'll give them like massive plaudits for.
Yeah.
But the rest are nowhere near what they were in my mind's eye.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They're almost like different games. They feel like jerky and janky, which at the time, I think, as you say, the style kind of made me ignore that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So, do you want to move on to game news now then, mate?
Yeah, let's do that, man. Yeah. Like I was just saying about streaming gaming, like the Bitmap Brothers may have invented it, but today, in fact, Sony have bought Gaikai, the streaming online game service.
Oh, I thought you was going to say the gay porn website.
Oh yeah. I think that's Gay Guy, but it's
okay.
It's close enough, isn't it?
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, this is no one quite knows the implications of it. People are saying, will it be something to do with the PS4, or will they use it just to sell more tellies, or for phones? They could use it for all of those things, to be fair.
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? It's like, you can definitely see a market for them building in an online service, an on-live service into their tellies and bits and bobs like that. But but you do think like, oh, what if they build in a kind of streaming service into the PlayStation 4? That'd be amazing.
It would be, but I don't know if they'd do that with. Would it be killing the market for buying games completely?
Not necessarily.
And
maybe
do they mind about that? Would they mind doing that? I suppose TV's been on a kind of service like that for years. But
maybe it's a Trojan horse to get more people buying games by kind of buying it directly off their own service and streaming it to them. Like sort of having, like you go out and buy your big games, but then you'll probably buy, PSN becomes whatever this Gaikai service is, and it streams it to you. Could be something like that, like a supplement to.
It's also a very nice way of killing the second-hand market without actually annoying anyone too much. Because if you're only paying the amount of that, say, a second-hand game would have cost per month to play all sorts of games, then
like a PlayStation Plus type thing, where you just subscribe to it and you've got games on tap. Yeah,
like an expanded PlayStation Plus, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be
streaming.
That'd be pretty mental. I mean, God knows if they'll ever do it, but they've definitely got the tech now.
They're future-proof, aren't they? That's
exactly.
I mean, there's been talk that that Microsoft now might be in a position to buy OnLive, but the amount it would cost them compared to, like Sony have paid $380 million for Gaikai, whereas OnLive is valued at, I say valued at loosely. I'm not saying it's maybe worth that, but it's valued at 1.8 billion. So it would cost Microsoft an awful lot to compete against Sony.
And this current climate, that's a big gamble to take, isn't it, mate?
Isn't it just? Especially as it does seem like when you see that they're very similar services. The only real difference is obviously in the content available, and also Gaikai concentrate on the quality of the image, whereas OnLive concentrate on having it being like as close to 60 frames per second. But other than that, minimal differences, and it's going to cost them like 4 or 5 times as much money to buy the competitor. So
Jesus Christ, we've got to come up with an idea, mate, that's going to get us like a few $1 million.
Live streaming podcast commentary over everyone's game in the world.
Yeah, exactly, something like that.
All you need is one commentator per gamer. But then it would break the immersion if I was playing Left 4 Dead, though, wouldn't it? Do you know what I mean?
It'd be like MLG commentators, but commentating over your game, yeah?
Yeah, or just give it like, you can have like Waldorf and Statler style stuff, do you know what I mean? Like, boo, you're rubbish!
He just fell off that ledge, what a prick.
Boo!
That'd be brilliant. That'd be well annoying.
I'm hoping that's why Sony have bought this, so they can like stream the game and have the rest of the PS4 devoted to Waldorf and Statler.
That would be nuts.
That's my call. That's my call for the next gen.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. You're calling it now, mate. Yeah, you're putting your money down on that. Quick, down to Ladbrokes, just in case. Put a bet on it.
Like, have you tried streaming gaming much?
Yeah, I had on live. Yeah. Well, had on live. I have on live, but yeah, it's really good. I mean, I found that because it's all really tied into your connection, isn't it? So like, I had a 5 meg line, and it was all right, and it had a bit of lag to it, and the image was a bit kind of artifacty and a bit blurred out and stuff.
A bit like playing next gen games on a PS2, like what the PS conversion would have been like. It was
like kind of trying to play a PC game with Vaseline smeared all over my monitor. That was the best way I could describe it. It was quite nice, but
which you're probably used to anyway. But
well, yeah, but that's because of my special weekend activities. But like, but yeah, it was okay. But then like, I've just upgraded my broadband now, and I'm getting like a ridiculous I've got like BT Infinity, and trying on live on that now, it fucking rocks, and it looks beautiful. So like, as we've always said, like, broadband penetration isn't there, and blah 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 blah, but like, it does work. So I'd be interested if there was some kind of supplemental service like that, kind of to pick it up and use it. Definitely. If I've, because I've got a decent enough connection now, but I think you're going to it's going to be a small market that will eventually grow. I don't know if that would force people into buying better internet connections,
Well, not to be overly sort of political about it, but if Sony and Microsoft both bought into it, like say Microsoft did buy on live, because they've probably got the money to do it. It's just that they'd be paying over the odds. But say they did, then there'd be a lot of lobbying for governments to up the internet connections, or for for BT to open up the Infinity network to other providers. Do you know what I mean? There'd be a lot of that stuff going on. So who knows? The big buy of today could end up being better internet all round.
Yeah, never know. You never know, luck. So what else we got then, man?
What have we got? Very good point. See, this one, we didn't know if this was a bit sort of businessy, but if anyone out there does own THQ shares, then I think you deserve this warning that as of July the 5th, they're having a reverse stock split.
Hello.
Now, a reverse split is usually called a join, to be fair, but this isn't that. Say you own 10 shares. As of the 5th, it's worth 1 share.
Okay. And how can they do this?
Well, how they do it is just by telling you this is now worth only 1 share. Like, there's nothing you can do about it.
Thanks. Cheers.
But the why is that the Nasdaq, which is the New York Stock Exchange, is it for tech companies? Nasdaq mainly.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. But you need to have shares worth over $1 to be part of that.
Okay.
Now THQ are in danger of not being able to fulfill that, and obviously they're looking at projections that are like, well, hang on, we're going to be 10 times below that. So what they're doing is making each share worth enough so they still look like a big company. Gotcha. It's all really, really dodgy.
So what does that mean for THQ in the end? Basically, does that mean that they
it means they're worth 1/10 of what they were?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? That's quite a big thing for a company to admit, is that yes, we were overvalued by 90%.
Jesus.
So who knows where that stands for their games in the future? But Saints Row 4 could be like Retro City Rampage by the time it's done. Do you know what I mean?
Don't expect anything massive coming out of THQ for a while, or expect one massive game that they're putting the farm on.
They seem to be getting pressure from the shareholders over this, obviously.
Yeah, well, obviously.
Yeah, but it looks like no one can really do anything about it.
Okay.
So yeah, a sneaky businessy one there from me. A bit less businessy, but no less political, man. A guy from former Rockstar Games developer, Navid Konsari. Now he's worked on GTA 3, Max Payne, Alan Wake, so he's obviously been at the studio for a long time.
A bit.
Yeah. He was working on a new game called 1979.
Right.
Which it was slightly controversial, I guess. It's about the Iranian Revolution of 1979.
Okay. Right.
So it obviously like he wasn't. I'm guessing he was kind of expecting this, but he's been disavowed by Iran for this, which
blimey.
is obviously where he's
Yeah,
from.
not someone you want to kind of get on your bad books, really, is it?
Not really, no. Especially as maybe like Rockstar Games developers, I'm guessing they're looking at his previous work as well and going, hang on, like these games aren't like. Even if he hadn't been working on this in 1979, we already should have disavowed him for GTA 3.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you looking through this article we were reading, it was basically like he's made Grand Theft Auto 3, he's made all these other games, and it's like they basically think he's a spy and have disavowed him. It's just like that's proper mental, you know?
Yeah, I can see their point that he is probably the game would be capable of maybe stirring things up in some kind of way, but
raising tensions and stuff.
Yeah. But again, it's a historical event. It's people's right to do that, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I suppose.
I mean, like people have been making, say, First World War and Second World War games for years.
Oh yeah,
So-
true.
Right.
But then again, it like you say, that's
Although I suppose these are conflicts that are still holding ramifications today, aren't they? So
yeah, exactly.
Whereas we're not going to get Mecha Hitler suddenly bear down on us.
probably a little bit more sensitive,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Fair point. Although he worked on Alan Wake, so I'm guessing you're not like you're going to move to Iran now.
I love him. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to disavow him.
And then we've got some lighter stuff as well. Epic Games have reported that Infinity Blade, the iPhone touchy hacky slashy thing, is their most profitable game ever.
I know that is mental.
Like,
you know,
what?
I know it's like you think of all the stuff they've done, like Unreal or like Gears of War. It's basically made more money than each individual Gears of War, and that just blows my mind.
Nuts, isn't it? For what? The sake of £3 game?
Yeah, like £2-3. Like
Yeah.
it's every now and then it's been free or it's been like 59p. That's got to be a shitload of in-game like swords and stuff that people have bought.
There's some that are crazy expensive as well, aren't there?
Yeah, no, exactly. So like that's just mental.
I got myself a pink sock for £50 or like something like that. Do you know what I mean? There's nutty things in there.
I know, it's nuts. Absolutely nuts. Like, how the hell have they made that much money on Infinity Blade? I mean, you came up with a good point earlier that, like, maybe it's just, like, people showing off the power of the iPad.
Purely. Like, when it first came out, for maybe the first few months of Infinity Blade, anyone that had an iPhone or an iPad was like, oh, you got to look at this. Look at what graphics my thing can do. It's better than a 360. Yeah, so I think a lot of it's probably down to the fact that it is a really good show off my Retina display or my iPad.
Showcase for the machine, yeah.
Yeah. But also, it's a bloody good game.
Yeah, it always seemed a little bit Punch-Out-y to me. I never really connected with it.
Oh, I really like Punch-Out, which is probably why I liked it quite a lot.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
Have you played the second one?
No, I haven't. Like I said, I didn't really connect with the first one, and I thought, well, I'm not wasting my money and buying it again.
Fair point.
Didn't seem to offer that much a second time round, really.
Yeah, I figured it wouldn't, especially if you haven't got an iPad 2 or iPad
exactly.
New. Is that what they're called? It's not. We can't call it an iPad 3.
It's the new iPad.
The new iPad. That's the
worst name ever.
Especially as when they bring out the next one, that's still going to be the new iPad.
New iPad. Yeah, exactly.
And they're going to have to keep on calling it like the newer iPad.
The new iPad.
Yeah.
The new.
And then eventually it'll get to newest, like the next generation down the line. It'll be like, oh, we have to call it newest now. Oh no, we backed ourselves into a corner.
Exactly, newer than the new iPad.
Man, crazy,
nuts.
And this is a nice little story, man. There's a new Dreamcast game that's going to be coming out.
Brilliant. As you do.
Like it's a 13-year-old console.
Yeah,
it's getting a game released for it now.
Exactly, that only retro like gamers now play and kind of dust off. Now someone's going to make a new game for it. Brilliant.
Yeah. Oh, but they've pitched it perfectly for people that are retro gamers, though.
Right,
gotcha. It's a 16-bit style run and gun, so it's kind of your Metal Slug kind of thing. It looks like it's got a more sci-fi vibe than that.
Oh, nice.
It's called Gunlord, and it's by NG Dev Team. Not that anyone really cares about that, but I thought I'd better actually tell people what it is.
Give them a shout
in case those Dreamcast fans are sitting there with a little notepad. Like, they listen to every podcast for any. It's like Train Spotters, for any reference to Dreamcast in a podcast, and then they note it down. Like, like 20 minutes 59, part 2 of the AI Bots episode 14. There was a mention of the Dreamcast. Because I know that's what I do.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm that much of a Sega geek.
You know, because you do it. They're in your little fucking anorak.
Oh man, you get yourself a Dreamcast though, dude.
I will do eventually, mate. I will do eventually.
Because you can play it in HD. Like,
well, yeah, because I know you can play it like you can get a VGA cable for it and run it on a monitor and that kind of thing. So,
like, I know it's not going to be like 720p.
Well, yeah, because that's a massive like hole in my knowledge, isn't it? So, there, you know, I spoke to you the other week about like maybe picking one up and going
learning you some Dreamcast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if anyone knows of any, what your sort of go-to starter games for the Dreamcast would be, give me a shout and on Twitter and let me know.
Yeah, and it's really difficult for me to bite my tongue now and not go, oh, this one and that one and that one.
Exactly.
I'd rather see what people say and then
like the five beginners guides to like the Dreamcast. Yeah. Without like buying, this game's 150 quid, and you can only get it from Japan, mail order, or whatever. Something reasonable.
We should do kind of like a Mr. and Mrs. between me and the listeners, where I'll get my 5, right?
Yeah.
And if anyone gets the same 5 in the same order, then like they're awesome. Well, like there's not going to be a prize because like competitions are too difficult to run in this country.
Yeah, exactly.
But
you'll just get the respect and knowledge that you got it right.
And like even if we offer like a shout out on Twitter, does that count as a competition prize? Do we have to then do official rules and regulations?
Probably, mate. Yeah.
If the government are listening, we didn't actually offer that. We didn't say we were.
No, that was an offer. That wasn't an offer. We were thinking about it. We were talking about it.
You might just coincidentally get a shout out on Twitter in the same week that you managed to choose the right order of those games.
Yeah, that covered it.
It'd just be complete coincidence.
And then just say allegedly at the end, just to cover it.
Yeah. Allegedly. Does that work? Is that right?
That's it. Yeah, perfect.
Nice one, man. Now this is you were telling me this is a non-story, man, but I did just want to mention it.
Yeah, go on.
You know Felicia Day?
Yes, mate.
Now, for anyone that doesn't know, she's kind of the most famous female geek at the moment, would you say?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like she's at least got her face out there and like tried to sort of help geekery sort of become more socially acceptable in the States, I suppose.
Like make it sound like some kind of weird cult.
Well, it kind of is, though, isn't it?
The cult of geekery.
But to a lot of people, it is, I suppose. But yeah, so she tries like she writes like comedy about it, and stars in like Joss Whedon's kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. She's an actress and kind of producer and director and that kind of thing.
But anyway, she got slagged off by a bloke from Destructoid, which is like that's my community. I've been part of that community for like years, and then this guy suddenly calls her out on Twitter. And again, I hate talking about Twitter spats, but it's only because it's the community that I've kind of been part of. Yeah. And it just felt like, oh, this is really awkward because suddenly everyone was like, oh, I hate this website, blah, blah, blah. And what he said was he asked, oh, what has Felicia Day ever done for the gaming community?
All I'm saying is, other than producing, writing and starring in successful geek comedy The Guild, hosting the upcoming 2012 Indiecade Awards, and voice acting in Fallout New Vegas, Dragon Age 2 and Guild Wars 2, what has Felicia Day ever done for us? Well, there's the aqueducts.
And then, a little bit more drunk, a little bit later, he atted her, i.e. he like put her name so that she actually saw it and said, what have you ever done to help the gaming community? Like, because obviously I didn't get a reply. She doesn't search for her name, so I'd better tell her exactly what I bloody think.
But we've all been there, mate. We've all sent the drunk text.
Drunk text, exactly. He did that in front of,
but like, in a bigger way.
Yeah. Well, not millions of people. He's only got 50 followers, but obviously she picked up on it, and I just
happy.
Clearly wasn't happy. And then Will Wheaton chipped in, like. Oh, it's like a playground fight, pretty much.
Mate.
I mean,
well, that's why I was saying to you, like, it's just like the great comment I saw on Twitter was, oh look, internet celebrity has fight with no name blogger.
Yeah,
it's like wow, interesting. Moving on.
Yeah, completely. Like I say, the only reason I really took an interest is that I kind of expected more of the site. Well, like of a writer for the site that I am, but I was like well chuffed that they just. Not chuffed that they sacked him, but that they did take a stance like so.
Yeah, that's it. Just like completely like take full glee in someone losing their job.
Oh man, no, that's totally not what I'm saying.
I know.
And he's going to be like, he's now got He used to have 50 Twitter followers when he said it. He's now got like over 2,000. So, like, Kotaku are going to offer him a job, aren't they? Like,
oh yeah, everyone does all right out of these things, but
but yeah, it's like see, Destructoid always gets this sort of bad rep for like I don't know, for being a bit of a frat boy community.
Yeah.
But see, that's never the way I've really seen it. So it was just all a bit odd. And yeah. So a non-story, I can completely see it's a playground spat.
Yeah.
But
like
yes,
you say, you are part of that community, so you know.
Yeah. So sorry for going on at you all about just a random little bit of abuse on Twitter. But if you'd like abusing people on Twitter, then do get in touch with us at the AI Bots.
All right. So you're telling people to get in touch and give us abuse. That is a dangerous game you're playing, son.
I suppose so. But like, considering, right, if we had abuse, then we'd have some letters to have filled this half of the show, rather than like trawling for news stories. Like, oh no, we need more news.
Oh no, poor Felicia Day. Someone said something bad. Boo hoo hoo.
Yeah. So
yeah.
All I'm thinking is that, hey, yeah, write into us and we'll start a war or something like that.
Yeah.
We won't actually start a war. We'll probably just play you at like Battlefield or something.
Don't tell anyone else that.
But yeah, no, if you do want to get in touch with us, like nice or nasty, either way it's fine. Like you can find us on Twitter at the AI Bots, or you can email us, email@theaibots.com. We'd love to hear from you. And
of course we would. Get in touch, say hello, anything you want to say to us. Give us a bit of feedback. It's good to talk, as Bob Hoskins once said. So, get involved. It's good to talk. These two people, they don't talk to each other. Now they have a phone, and it's good to talk. That's a terrible...
Has he become Tommy Cooper?
Yeah, just like that.
Telephone conversation, telephone. Conversation goes under the telephone, then it goes through there, and then...
Glass bottle, glass bottle.
Smart glass, bottle, smart glass.
Right, let's get out of here before we start getting absolutely fucking off the chain stupid.
Yeah, otherwise it will turn into like the Tommy Cooper Impressions podcast, which when you've grown up in Essex can go on for hours and hours and hours.
Exactly. Right.
Nice one. Yeah, let us know what you think of the show. Find us on iTunes, give us a review. We'd love to hear what you think.
That'd be amazing. Right, we're off.
Wicked. Speak to you soon,
guys. See you later, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.